In our headlines on this Monday, September 29th, here in South Korea, a substantial number of public services turn offline this week in the wake of major disruptions to online services following a fire at a state-run data center. Meanwhile, at the National Assembly on this Monday, lawmakers are preparing to partake in a vote that looks to pass the last of 4 controversial bills. And a pilot program is underway here in South Korea starting today, offering visa-free entry to Chinese tourist groups of 3 or more people for up to 15 days. We start here on the local front with news of continued disruptions to online government services following a fire last Friday at the National Data Center in Daejeon. Our Park Hyo-bin starts us off.
Local government offices and community service centers have been swamped with frustrated residents as a result of last Friday's fire at the National Information Resources Service in Daejeon. While some basic services such as issuing resident registration and family relation certificates have been restored, others remain unavailable.
I got my resident registration and family relationship certificate, but the main reason I came was for a fixed date stamp, and that service still isn't working.
The Ministry of Interior and Safety said Monday that restoring the 96 systems directly affected by the fire would take about 4 weeks as they relocate the data to the Daegu Backup Center.
We deeply apologize once again to the public. It is expected to take about 2 weeks to prepare the resources and another 2 weeks to set up the systems, but we aim to accelerate the process as much as possible with cooperation from firms already housed at the Daegu Center.
According to the Central Disaster and Safety Countermeasures Headquarters, as of noon Monday, 62 out of 647 disrupted systems have been restored, including 16 of the highest priority services, a recovery rate of just over 44%. Meanwhile, police investigating the cause of the fire are focusing on lithium-ion batteries. A team of specialized investigators has been dispatched to examine the scene, reviewing CCTV footage and joint inspection records to determine how sparks were triggered and under what conditions the batteries were handled. Park Hyo-bin, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, at the Parliament on this Monday, lawmakers are preparing to partake in a vote that looks to pass the last of 4 controversial bills. Our political correspondent Moon Hae-ryun has the latest.
The 5-day filibuster marathon at the National Assembly is nearing its end, with lawmakers preparing to vote on Monday on the last of 4 contentious bills this plenary session. Since the session opened last Thursday afternoon, lawmakers have passed 1 controversial bill each day. Among them, an amendment to the Government Organization Act, a measure establishing a new Broadcasting and Media Communications Committee, and a revision to the National Assembly Act. Progress has been slow because under parliamentary rules, a filibuster can stretch on for up to 24 hours before a separate 3/5 majority vote can end it. That means lawmakers have been limited to tackling 1 bill per day. The bill now up for debate is a proposal that would allow for the prosecution of perjury committed during parliamentary hearings, even after a committee has ended its work. If the chair refuses or avoids filing charges, more than half the members could approve it instead. And if the committee has dissolved, the chairman of the Legislation and Judiciary Committee would be empowered to act in its place. The DP criticized the PPP's filibusters as wasting golden time, while the PPP condemned the amendment as legislative tyranny.
Wasting the golden time to restore South Korea in this way is a clear dereliction of political duty and a betrayal of the people.
As long as Chumia maintains dictatorial control over the Legislation and Judiciary Committee, South Koreans will have to sit through more needless political farces.
The ballot will bring the marathon filibuster to a close, with the ruling party and its allies poised to use their supermajority to pass the bill. But while the plenary session formally ends on Monday, lawmakers are likely to reconvene as early as Thursday. That's because around 60 welfare-related bills considered as uncontentious remain piled up on the agenda awaiting passage. Moon Hae-ryun, Arirang News.
President Lee Jae-myung is set to hold a summit with Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba in the port city of Busan on Tuesday.
Speaking to the press earlier this afternoon, National Security Advisor Wee Seong-rak said the visit by Prime Minister Ishiba comes in light of President Lee's trip to Tokyo last month and ushers in the return of their so-called shuttle diplomacy. On their agenda are ways to cooperate on issues of common interest, ranging from population decline to rural revitalization to artificial intelligence and to hydrogen energy. The outgoing Japanese Prime Minister will be in South Korea from Tuesday for a 2-day visit. In other news, the real income of South Koreans in their 20s recorded the lowest growth rate as compared to that for all age groups over the past 10 years. Findings by the Federation of Korean Industries show their real income on average rose 1.9% between 2014 and 2024, with a tangible slowdown from 2019 to 2024. The report links this reality to a decline in job quality and inflation. Meanwhile, South Koreans in their 60s and above witnessed the greatest growth rate in real income over the past decade at over 5%, followed by those in their 30s at 3.1%, 50s at 2.2%, and 40s at 2.1%. A pilot program is underway here in South Korea starting today that offers visa-free entry to Chinese tourist groups of 3 or more people for up to 15 days. Our Kim Do-yeon covers the program and more.
As announced in August, on Monday, Chinese tourists in pre-booked groups of 3 or more enter South Korea without a visa. They're able to stay for up to 15 days, with this scheme running until June 30th of next year. This is expected to increase Chinese tourists visiting South Korea, with levels already on the path to recovery to pre-COVID times. And for those who missed this chance and already entered South Korea, it's an easy way back into the country.
Although I came too early this time and had to get a visa, I definitely will visit more often now because of visa-free program. I had to spend time and money. The food is excellent and the shopping environment is also very good.
More tourists, however, doesn't automatically equate to additional profit. It also equates to fierce competition. For duty-free stores in Korea, it's time to put up their best possible promotions and presents. This favorite K-food bundle pack comes in this bag with the word fortune written in Korean and Chinese on it. It's also red, a lucky color in Chinese culture. Promotions like this kicked off on Monday across the major players in light of the visa-free program. The duty-free stores are now raising their expected number of visitors.
We attracted a cumulative total of 80,000 visitors through August. With the visa-free policy now boosting group tours, we are targeting 140 visitors by the end of the year. To accommodate this, we are renovating our shopping spaces and enhancing experiential content so that customers leave with pleasant memories, not just products.
That optimism is spilling out onto the streets. Here in Myeongdong, stores are also competing to get the best out of the opportunity. And it's not just Korean local stores. Chinese payment system companies like Alipay and UnionPay are working to host more visitors with gifts prepared for those who use their service.
With the visa-free program, our company is hosting events here in Myeongdong. I hope everyone can have a good time and make good memories.
The government is expecting 1 million visitors from China by the first half of next year through this program. In addition, October is a typically popular month for Chinese tourists as it has China's national holiday in it. Last year, the number of Chinese tourists recovered to around 70% of pre-COVID levels. Kim Do-yeon, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, in yet another shocking assault against a house of worship over in the U.S., a gunman opened fire at a church in Michigan during service this past Sunday. Our Pyongyang covers the latest tragedy.
At least 4 people are dead and 8 others wounded after a deadly attack at a church in Grand Blanc Township, Michigan. A 40-year-old man drove his pickup truck into the front doors of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, where hundreds of worshippers had gathered on Sunday local time. He then opened fire on the congregation before setting the building ablaze. Authorities identified the suspect as ex-Marine Thomas Jacob Sanford.
That suspect is a 40-year-old male from the city of Burton, who we identified as Thomas Jacob Sanford. Currently where we're at, an update, I gave you 10 victims who were victims of gunshot. Since then, we have 2 victims who are now deceased. One additional one had died at a local hospital. And again, that suspect is deceased as well.
Sanford fled the church and was chased by 2 officers before he was fatally shot in an exchange of gunfire. Michigan State Police also reported receiving bomb threats at other churches in the area, but no bombs were found during an investigation. While a motive is yet to be uncovered, President Donald Trump described the shooting as a targeted attack on Christians in a post on Truth Social. He said he had been briefed on the incident and called for an end to what he described as the epidemic of violence across the United States. The Michigan church attack comes amid a string of assaults on houses of worship or related facilities. In August, a shooting at a Catholic school in Minnesota killed 2 children. And just a day before Sunday's tragedy, a gunman in North Carolina opened fire on a crowd, leaving 3 people dead and several others injured. 현예영, Arirang News.
Seoul held its 18th ODA International Conference on this Monday, kicking off an active week of engagements to promote partnerships for global development. Our senior correspondent Oh Soo-young reports.
How to finance global development in a time of narrowing budgets and geopolitical tensions. That's the challenge faced by governments globally and the theme of the 18th Seoul ODA International Conference, organized by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Korea International Cooperation Agency.
Currently, we are facing a tough environment. I mean, rising geopolitical tensions, growing uncertainty, and even scaling back of ODA by some major donors, all of which make it harder to achieve the sustainable development goals. So against this backdrop, we want to focus on how to mobilize development finance more effectively and how to create innovative partnerships.
The OECD projects a growing drop in official development assistance, with the annual financing gap projected to hit $6.4 trillion by 2030, up from the $4 trillion recorded in 2023.
Official development assistance, ODA, remains a cornerstone of the global financing architecture, particularly for the poorest and most vulnerable countries, in fragile contexts for essential social sectors. ODA plays a unique role in advancing gender equality, protecting human rights, and building climate resilience.
A conference in Sevilla in June saw governments ramp up their commitment to raising the trillions needed. South Korea's Vice Minister Kim Jin-ha said Monday's conference aims to build on the Sevilla commitment, with Seoul determined to actively contribute to advancing the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals.
Our commitment is not only to expand the scale of ODA, but also to improve the quality by sharpening its strategic focus, enhancing effectiveness, and ensuring that our assistance is designed in ways that are both trusted and embraced by our partner countries.
During the sessions, participants highlighted the need to support domestic resources and build public trust and investor confidence in order to unlock additional financing through policy reforms and private investment. The conference is also taking place during Seoul's Development Partnership Week, where government officials and partner agencies from over a dozen countries are participating in events, including a capacity-building program seeking improved coordination and knowledge sharing.
It is how we can improve the effectiveness of our development cooperation through better coordination, transparency, and alignment with our partner country. Korea has built a strong fundamental institutional framework for development cooperation. In terms of ODA, Korea already have the complete package of SIMs, of loans and grants.
Korea's own experience of transitioning from an aid recipient to a donor country with its rapid socio-economic development within one generation also provides policy examples.
The conversation will continue at the Busan Global Partnership Forum and the high-level meeting of 5 middle power countries, Mexico, Indonesia, Korea, Turkey and Australia, taking place in Seoul this week. Oh Seong, Arirang News.
South Korea's Navy this past weekend marked its 80th birthday with a fleet review in waters off the coast of Busan. Our defense correspondent Kim Bo-kyung was there.
With the commander of the Navy's latest Aegis destroyer, the ROK's Cheongjo the Great, reporting the commencement of the Maritime Fleet Review to the Defense Minister, the Navy's fleet review began. Celebrating the 80th anniversary of the Navy's founding, this year's fleet review was the 6th in the Navy's history, with the first coming in 1945. I'm currently on the deck of the Navy's 4,900-ton amphibious landing ship Ilchibong, where defense officials, including the minister, are on board for the fleet review, showcasing the country's naval strength both at sea and in the air. Along with ROK's Ilchibong were 14,500-ton large transport ship Barado, which recently took part in the U.S. and Australia-led Talisman Sabre drills as a lead ship, and the landing ship Dojokbong, which had around 2,000 members of the public on board. A series of warships and aircraft, including the latest MH-60R maritime operation helicopters and the Aegis destroyers Haejong the Great, also featured, along with submarines. With the Navy showing off its capabilities, South Korea's defense chief underlined the importance of maritime security.
Maritime security is directly linked to the nation's survival. Since 99.7% of our country's trade is conducted by sea, maritime routes are essentially the lifeline of the nation.
The fleet review included an anti-submarine operation where P-8A maritime patrol aircraft, MH-60R and Lynx helicopters detected and tracked an enemy submarine before releasing a training torpedo. A demonstration of the Navy's firepower followed, involving both manned and unmanned assets responding to enemy vessels. People who got a chance to see the event enjoyed every minute of it.
Seeing the Navy's capabilities in person made me realize how strong our national defense is. I feel confident that we can trust and rely on our Navy to protect our country.
Showcasing its vision of becoming a leading maritime power, the ROK Navy was able to demonstrate its strength and get closer to the public. Kim Bo-kyung, Arirang News, Busan.
And speaking about members of the public, those here in capital Seoul were treated to Seocho-gu District's annual Seoripul Festival with a greater emphasis on music this year. Our An Sung-jin was there.
Seocho is the music. This is the slogan for this year's Seoripul Festival, the signature culture and art celebration of Seoul's Seocho-gu District. As it celebrates its 10th anniversary, the festival has been rebranded as the Seoripul Music Festival, with the district pledging to put an emphasis on the rhythms of joy.
This fall, one of Seoul's busiest boulevards, Pampodero, has been transformed into a vibrant stage by bringing music and various performances onto the streets.
From classical concerts to traditional Korean performances, the festival offers a wide range of harmonious ensembles for visitors to enjoy.
Marking its 10th anniversary, the festival now adds music to its name to highlight its expanded focus. The festival showcases a full spectrum of music for its visitors.
But the highlight of the festival is the 2,600 square meter sketchbook. The 900-meter stretch of the busy Pampodero Road was closed off so that visitors could use color chalk to draw on the streets, transforming the city into a grand stage.
Everything here is so much fun, and I am very excited to be here. My favorite parts are the largest sketchbook and diverse musical performances. I hope this festival continues.
And Arirang TV also set up a booth to share its dedication for K-pop.
Alongside Arirang TV, which we have a long history with, we wanted to open this collaboration booth to contribute to society.
The annual music festival, which was held over the weekend, attracted some 250,000 visitors in another successful artistic celebration for the district. An Sung-jin, Arirang News.
This is The World Now, bringing you the latest stories from around the globe. Iran has strongly condemned the re-imposition of United Nations sanctions over its nuclear program, calling them unlawful and saying they undermine diplomatic efforts. On Sunday, Iran's foreign ministry denounced the reinstatement of UN sanctions on Iran 10 years after they were lifted, labeling them unjustifiable, illegal, and a violation of international law. Iran claims the move is politically motivated and refuses to recognize the legitimacy of the snapback process. That process was initiated by the UK, France, and Germany, who cited lack of cooperation from Tehran. The snapback process automatically reimposes all UN sanctions on Iran over its nuclear program, including arms embargoes, halting uranium enrichment support, and asset freezes targeted at individuals and entities tied to Iran's nuclear and missile programs. In Europe, Denmark has imposed a week-long ban on civilian drone flights, following fresh drone sightings at military bases over the weekend, just as Copenhagen prepares to host a high-level EU summit. The Danish government announced on Sunday that civilian drones will be banned nationwide from Monday to Friday during the week of the EU summit, citing security concerns after drones were observed over several military bases over the weekend and civilian airports last week. NATO also announced it would deploy an air defense frigate in the Baltic Sea in response to last week's drone incidents. The Danish Transportation Ministry stated that the temporary ban on all civilian drones flying in Danish airspace aims to remove the risk that enemy drones can be confused with legal drones. It warned that violations may result in fines or imprisonment for up to 2 years. Denmark will hold the rotating EU presidency, and the summit of leaders and officials is scheduled for Wednesday and Thursday. In India, at least 39 people, including children, were killed and dozens were injured on Saturday evening in a crowd crush at a political rally in Karur, Tamil Nadu state. The rally was hosted by actor-turned-politician Vijay as part of his 2026 state elections campaign. According to reports, more than double the 10,000 people permitted for the rally had gathered when the crowd surged forward suddenly during Vijay's address. Vijay expressed heartbreak over the tragedy, and the Tamil Nadu government announced compensation for the families of the deceased. Finally, American pop star Selena Gomez has married music producer Benny Blanco, confirming the union in a social media post. Blanco responded to her post, writing, "My wife in real life." The wedding ceremony, an intimate gathering of close friends and industry peers, was held outdoors in Santa Barbara, California. Celebrity guests in attendance included Taylor Swift, who reportedly gave a speech. Gomez wore a white halter dress with floral details, while Blanco donned a tuxedo and bow tie, both custom-made by Ralph Lauren. Gomez, 33, and Blanco, 37, met about a decade ago and got engaged at the end of last year. Choi Ji-hee, Arirang News.
September is coming to an end. As autumn deepens, the daily temperature differences between the morning and evening are widening these days. This morning, the temperature started at 16.6 degrees Celsius in Seoul and 17.4 degrees in Kimcheon. The daytime temperature rose to reach 25 degrees in Seoul today, making a huge temperature swing. Tomorrow, there will be showers in the Seoul metropolitan area, western parts of Gangwon-do, Chungcheong-do, and Gyeongsangbuk-do provinces in the daytime and evening. The morning will start cool at below 20 degrees in most parts of the country. Daily highs will go up to 25 degrees in Seoul, Gwangju, and Daegu, 26 degrees in Gyeongju and Jeju. Starting from Thursday night, there is more rain forecast for Jeollanam-do province and Jeju Island. That rain will spread to the Chungcheong-do provinces and the rest of the south on Friday. That's all for Korea. Here are the weather conditions around the world.
Those are the headlines at this hour here in South Korea. Coming up next, our daily panel session. Thank you for now.